Hello, hello. I hope you're having a beautiful day today. I wanted to share with you a story, and this is a real live occurrence that happened to me today. So Wayne got my hair did today. Thank you, Just Jess at Hudson Salons, for slowly but surely allowing me to creep back into my red. I'm really excited about it and I love it. So after I was done getting my hair did, I was texting my husband, who was working today, trying to figure out what are we doing for dinner. This, I don't know if this is like this in your household, but this is the ever seductive dance that goes on in my household of what are we having for dinner? Whose turn is it to cook? And whatever my husband says to me, am I gonna like? And I can own that. I mean, can you guys own that? I mean, yesterday Scott was like, what about hamburgers? I was like, no, I don't want hamburgers. And then tonight he was like, what about hot sausage? And I was like, no, I don't want that either. Yeah, I know I have this problem where I'm like, I've been deciding all week. And then everything he says, I'm like, ooh, no, I don't like that. So I have to figure something out. So I decided to go to the grocery store because I was texting him. He's at work. And trying to get an idea what he wants. I don't know why I'm even doing that. I can own it. Inevitably, I'm going to be like, I don't even know if I want that. So anywho, I go to the grocery store and the first thing that I did was I went and picked up some sushi because I'm like, I'll have that for lunch. And then I go right over to the deli because I'm like, okay, well, tomorrow is football Sunday. We always like to watch the game and have snacks. And I love pepperoni and hard salami and cheese. I'm all about good charcuterie. I'm not even sure if that's how you say it, but I'm all about a good charcuterie. And so I love that on game day. I love watching football and just the charcuterie, yelling at the TV, yelling at the football players, getting real amped up. So go over to the deli. Inevitably, you're always kind of like, oh, there'll be a line. So I gear myself up for that. And there's just one other person there, one gentleman there. And I step up and he's first, so I want to let him go. And he's standing right to the left of me. And in my peripheral, I can see him looking at me. Even though my hair is like this, I can still see him. And I just kind of look and I do a smile because I like to smile at people. Not all the time, not every day do you feel like smiling at people. But when I do, I always like to do it because it feels good when someone smiles at you, right? It feels good when someone gives you a kind gesture, even if it's just something as simple as, that's what I like to do. So I'm standing there and I can see him looking at me and then I do he does like this sort of motion. He's like, I really like your hair. And I was like, oh, well, thank you. He's like, no, I just feel like it really brightens up your face. It's a really good color for you. And I said, thank you. I'm actually a natural redhead. I just came from getting it done. So thank you. That means a lot to me. I really appreciate that. And he said, you're welcome. And just that way, right? Like, you're welcome. I was like, oh, okay. So I turned my attention back again, and the man behind the deli says, who was first? And I pointed to him. He tells him what he wants. And then I can see him looking at me again as he's waiting for his deli order to be completed. And I just kind of, smile again. And he then says to me, thank you. And I said, for what? And he said, thank you. Thank you for being kind. And I said, well, thank you for being kind. And he said, you're welcome. And I said, and you're welcome. And then the man behind the deli gave him his thing and then he placed another order. And he said, but thank you for being kind back. And I said, well, thank you for being kind. And he said, well, not everybody likes that. Some people think that's weird. Some people think it's weird to be kind and complimentary. And I said, I understand what you're saying. I said, I do. And I said, what is your name? And I extended my hand and he said, Tracy. And I said, hi, Tracy, I'm Shannon. It's nice to meet you. I said, I see what you're saying. I said, I do. I do feel that at this time in the world, unfortunately, and maybe this is just what I'm realizing now. Maybe it's always been this way. But people live in fear of somebody else's agenda. And he said, yeah, I agree with you. I get told that I'm weird for wanting to be kind. And sometimes people don't say anything back at all. I said, I understand that. I said, but I tend to believe that that has more to do with the other person. I said that if we want to receive kindness, then we have to be kindness. And that if we want to be kindness, then we have to be willing to receive it from other people too. We have to have our light on, our signal on. And he said, I like that. Have our light on, have our signal on. And he said, the reason why I said that is because I feel like your face was lit up. And your hair does look really nice, and you should know that, but your face was lit up. And I said, well, your face was lit up too. So it allowed my kindness to be received by your kindness and us to respond in kind. And he was shaking his head, and the man behind the counter said, can I get anything else for you, sir? And he said, no, put it in his cart. And he went to turn around to walk away, and he turned around and he said, what is your name again? And I said, my name is Shannon. And I held my hand out. We shook hands, and I said, Tracy, it was very nice to meet you. And he said, Shannon, it was very nice to meet you. And I said, Tracy? And he said, yeah. And I said, keep being kind. Even when people aren't kind, keep being kind. And I'll do the same. And he said, yeah, thank you. And I said, you're welcome. And he walked away. And that exchange, which couldn't have been more than 3 minutes, was wonderful. And it allowed me to see that what something I've been practicing and working on recently a lot is allowing myself to exude how I feel on the inside and to be what I want to see in the world. And I'm, running around the grocery store after that, like on a cloud, like everything is great, and just smiling and continuing to imbibe that same energy of kindness from my heart and from my soul and from my love to other people in the grocery store. And it feels so good. It feels so good for me to be kind to other people. And I started to reflect upon the work that I do, not just as a coach, but something that I really believe in and weave in through my work, and I've shared with you all, which is shadow work. And reflecting over the past few years of my life, that was not something that I felt I could do, that I wanted to be sure that I could receive kindness from someone before I could give it to someone, because I wasn't sure how they were going to treat me. And that I had this guard up of, if you aren't going to give me kindness, then you ain't going to get fucking kindness. You got to earn it. You got to work for it. You got to prove it to me. And a lot of times I came up empty-handed and heartbroken and disappointed and feeling like I was giving more than I was getting. And as I'm pushing my little buggy through the grocery store, guys, I'm literally like, walking around like, hi, how are you? Excuse me. Like on this high from my engagement with Tracy. And I allowed myself to own a little bit of that too. I allowed myself, at first I was like, this is just because Tracy was so nice to me. And that's not true. It's because I was willing to bring the energy that I feel in my heart. I was willing to emanate the energy that I wanted to receive in the world. I was willing to show up as love in my truth. Not because I was looking to get it, not because I was even searching for it, but because I was willing to be it. I was willing to house it within me so that I could have it. I could see it. I could feel it. And as I got in my car to drive away, I thought to myself, how wonderful that I allowed myself to engage that. How wonderful that I allowed myself to own it and go first with it. And when I did, I got it back. And I'm not saying that that will always happen, but I am saying that sometimes the shadows that we have within ourselves are those that incite what we receive. And so the shadow for me was, I needed someone to prove it to me. I need someone to give it to me, to let me know that it was okay to show up that way. And a lot of times I wasn't getting it in return. And so I reframed that shadow, threw some love on it, and allowed myself to go first, to be what I wanted to receive. And it showed up, and it presented itself to me. So I invite you to do that this weekend. Simply put, just be the love you want to see in the world and see what shadows reveal themselves to you.